I want to introduce some of my co-facilitators that are here with me today too, from Rocky, Ramsburg High School. Crystal Kelly right here, and Pam Kilmes, and then Dr. Lori Carlson is a professor of mine from CSU, and they'll kind of be my resident experts that are here with us today. This is Media Savvy and Techno-Literate, the 21st Century School Counselor. So excited that you're here. There are a lot of great choices for breakout sessions, so I'm grateful that you chose this one. I think it's going to be well worth your time. So we're going to go ahead and get started. As you know, we are living in a digital age. It is a digital age for our students. Kids are on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they're text messaging each other, they're on wiki websites and communicating with each other all hours of the day and night. And not only that, 10 years from now, kids are going to be doing all of those things from the comfort of their computers, and it'll be their work, that they'll be collaborating on projects with people in Bangladesh and Bolivia, all in the course of a day. Further, it's a digital age for parents. And as part of this younger generation, and those that are part of that with me will tell you, we will do everything possible to find information online before I will ever pick up the phone and call someone. So it's my expectation that the information I find, that I can find the information that I need online. And that's the expectation from parents too. And as school counselors, to be visible, we've got to be seen, and we have to have information out there, and we have to be putting ourselves out there. And finally, it's a digital age for education. Our students are being held to 21st century standards that demand that they are digitally and media literate. So it's really important that we, as we support them through that and guide them to meeting those standards, recognize that it is a digital age for education. Finally, it all comes down to collaboration, and that's one of the things that I want to emphasize more than anything else here. Pam and Crystal and I are kind of an unlikely trio. I am their librarian, and they are some of my biggest allies at Rocky, and I would like to consider myself one of their best supports. We work together all the time, and both of us are in, those kinds of positions, librarians and media and school counselors, where we're having to say to people a lot, this is what I do, this is why I'm important here. And so having that understanding with each other and then collaborating to make that happen is really huge. I hope that you will walk away with that question or some ideas around who is it that I can collaborate with to start to integrate media and technology into my school counseling program. So maybe it is your media person or your tech person, or maybe you've got some tech-savvy students or somebody in your community, a public librarian, or somebody else that can help you to begin to integrate some of these things. I don't want you to think that you have to go at this alone, but there are a lot of great resources and people to collaborate with. We're going to talk about a couple of different things today as we do this media savvy and tech literate school counselor thing. The first thing that we're going to be talking about is going to be presentation and communication tools. And so we've got a couple of different things there that we're going to go over, mainly Web 2.0 technologies that can kind of help to take your program to the next level in terms of doing presentations and communicating with other folks. Another thing that we're going to talk about, we've talked a lot of tech at this point, you're probably thinking just computers, and we're going to talk about the media end of things and talk about books. And Pam is going to share a little bit about how we're using books at Rocky to train our peer counselors, and how we do some other creative projects with books to bring real-world issues to life for kids. And then finally, we're going to talk about data-driven school counseling, which is all sorts of a buzzword right now, but Crystal's going to share a little bit about how we use Naviance and how we use Google surveys to collect data and information and analyze that. So we'll go ahead and get started here, and this is kind of an awkward setup in terms of the tech stuff, so if we're kind of flying back and forth, I appreciate your grace in that. But the first website that we're going to talk about, I'm going to share 4 different websites, and I guess I want to say that too. Well, let's just do things here before we get into that. First off, on your handout, you can kind of see where we're headed and the structure for that. One of the things that I've kind of done here is left a blank area for your notes, for your jotting down of, hey, I could think about integrating this, or this would be great for this guidance lesson, or whatever your thoughts are. That's what that space is there and for as we go through this. So your own applications of thoughts. So that's something to keep in mind there. I go to enough of these things that I get anxious that people are going to walk away and say, oh my gosh, there's so much information, and I'm never going to be able to figure all this out, and I have way too much to do anyway, and I know you do. So my hope is that you'll pick maybe just one of these things to try this year. And I get asked that a lot, like, how do you keep up with all of these different websites and all these different technologies? And obviously it's part of my job in the media center, but I have my big old desk calendar, and I write on the, I get hear of these websites or these project ideas via word of mouth or blogs that I read, or I go to these conferences, and I'll go through and I'll write one a week of these websites, and I write it on the Monday of that week, and that's what I check out. So when I come up with that 15, 20, 30 minutes to spare that I can play on one of these websites and start to get some ideas, that's when I do it. You might not have 30 minutes a week. Maybe you put one each month or one for the semester. But just don't feel overwhelmed. Pick one thing and go with that. So just to emphasize that. The first thing that we're going to talk about is Prezi, and you just saw a Prezi. Prezi, and that was that first intro thing we just watched. Prezi is a presentation software, and it's all online. I like to call it PowerPoint on crack. One of our teachers said it's a lot like PowerPoint 3D. It is the future of PowerPoint, and it's amazing. We're going to go to that main Prezi page. I'm just going to show you this quick clip that kind of explains a little bit more about exactly what Prezi is.
You make presentations to share ideas, to showcase work, or even to persuade your audience to do something. But what used to be a great opportunity has turned into a dreadful experience for you and your audience. The reason? Boring presentations. And that's where Prezi comes in. In Prezi, you create and present your ideas on a large canvas like a whiteboard, instead of traditional slides. You can easily place ideas, images, and videos, and arrange them in a natural flow to tell your story. When you're presenting, Prezi lets you zoom in to emphasize a detail or zoom out to see the big picture. Now the audience can see the whole story as well as the details, and are more likely to remember their work, ideas, or be persuaded to do something. The best part? You can start a Prezi now for a presentation you have tomorrow. In just a few clicks, you can bring presentations back to life.
And they're back to life. And when I teach kids this, and they're doing a ton of these in a lot of our different classes at Rocky, I'll say, how many of you are tired of watching PowerPoints? And every hand in the room goes up. How many of you are tired of making PowerPoints? Every hand in the room goes up. Kids are tired of PowerPoint. I mean, they're starting to make them when they're 5 or 6 now. So Prezi is a new way to do that. And so it's a free online site, and there are a lot of options. So will you go ahead and sign me out up at the top here? Well, there are a lot of websites that are online that offer free resources for educators, and this is one of them. So if you go to sign up now, and when you go to this site, you'll scroll down here to the bottom, and there's a big gold box that says Student and Teacher Licenses, and you click Go right there. And normal people pay $60 a year for the package that you get for free. So I just click Get right there. You'll put in your email address, so your school email address, and then your school website and your school name. We're having all of our students sign up for the free educator account, and all of our teachers as well. So a great resource right there. Again, this is not something that you really have to be an expert in. A lot of it's kind of a playing thing, and I like to use these tabs here at the top to kind of explain that. But when you first log in there, it'll show you a quick video how to get started. If you go to the Learn tab has tons of resources. I mean, these people want you to use this, and they want you to use it well. And so over here on the side, it's going to have all these different step-by-step tutorials or videos, how to kind of take your Prezi to the next level. On the other side, it has a manual that has step-by-step instructions for any questions that you might have. So I'll have kids ask, how do I insert a sound file? I don't know. I don't need to know because it's all right here online. And then at the top on that Explore tab are other people's Prezis. So those are Prezis that other folks that have been made public. this is where I steal all my best ideas. So I just go in here, I watch them, and there's some terrible ones, so I ignore them. I mean, there's like, oh, that's not what to do. And then there's some great ones in there too. So Prezi.com, and do you want to share a little bit about what you guys are doing with right now?
Well, we know how good you are as counselors, obviously. Pam, who sometimes we tease a little bit about her technology skills, but Pam said right away when Kathy sent this out to our staff, she was like, we were like, we got to try it. So we have our senior parent planning night where we get about 500 some parents that come that night. Pam does a session just for parents on the transition for parents and dealing with their kids going off to college, and she created a Prezi, and we were just so shocked, just kind of, but it was good.
She used to use an overhead projector. A huge upgrade.
And Kathy taught me. It took me an hour at most to learn it, and I did it. It took a couple hours to do it. And I did it the next day. It was really easy. So if I can do this.
Yeah, and we're going, next week we're going into our sophomore level classes to do career and college planning and stuff. We get a chance to get in at every level, and so another counselor and I sat down. Probably it took a total of 2 hours. We made it pretty basic, but we put everything into a Prezi for that presentation too for those sophomores, and just had it kind of flying in academic planning. Here's what that's about, career planning. Here's
and
what's
really cool to one
planning.
that they just did is that they scanned in. They're talking about transcripts, and previously again had overhead for transcripts, and now have scanned those in, and they're in there. And once you're in Prezi, you're able to zoom specifically. Like if you're showing a presentation, you can zoom right in. So like, hey, let's look at this GPA, and it can zoom all the way into that 4.0 or whatever that is, and you can zoom back out to see the big picture. So, a huge step up. So a couple questions. Sorry.
When you have your students log in with email address, how did you prevent them from putting in Mr.69@yahoo.com as their email address?
We require that they use their school email address because in our district that's the only one that they can access from the building, and so they have to put in their school one so that they can access it at all from the building. Yes.
And then when you save it, it's saved in this website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what's particularly cool is that you can invite other editors. So I can invite somebody else to work on it, and we can work on it in real time together. So I could be working with somebody to do a presentation, and they're in Boston, and we are both working on the exact same presentation at the same time, and it's all coming together, which is sweet. It's awesome to walk into a classroom and I'll see kids, and they have like this little dancing icon of a person that kind of has somebody else's name, and I'm like, what is that? Oh, that's Joey, he's my partner, but I don't really like him, so he's sitting over on the other side of the room, and I'm working here. So it completely eliminates that, did you email me the PowerPoint, it's not the updated version, it's all online and saved there. So
and now when you're actually presenting, so Crystal's maneuvering through like to zoom into things. With the PowerPoint, you have the traditional clicker where you could do it yourself, like have from where you're standing. Can you do that with Prezi also?
You can. You can just. She was just clicking on the arrow buttons to just kind of slide. So I've said I want you to zoom in now. I want you to pull back out. But she can also take control with the mouse at any point and go back. Like if I was like, hey, wait a second, I wanted to go back to that point. She would go back there and zoom back in again. So,
can you put video clips on it?
You can. Probably the best feature, I love this, is that I can literally cut and paste the URL from a YouTube video and it uploads in seconds. And so if you've ever tried to add a video to a PowerPoint, you're like, I have no idea if it's going to show up or what kind of file I need. Within seconds. So, pretty cool. Okay, so many questions. Yeah.
Is this an online game? I go to the classroom, do I need to log in on my thing, or is that something I save to my desktop or a thumb drive and then take it around to the classroom?
You can download it, or you can play it online. So the one that
we just downloaded it so that we can go onto our server and all 6 of us counselors can be accessing it for when we're in the classroom at the same time. So we weren't sure that was going to work, but it worked very easily. And then
you can't edit it, but you can show it from that mode.
That was my question.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, we'll keep going. We've got a lot to cover, but this is Prezi. Another website that I want to share with you is called VooBox.com, and VooBox is media creation made easy. It's kind of a panoramic digital presentation, and it allows you to add text, video, all the panorama. So if you kind of, Chris, if you just hit play down here, we'll kind of scroll along. Same kind of thing, allowing you to add text, video,